So, what to read next? Oh, I have to read this one. I used to work here, and there was a red-headed fellow named Stefan. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Shalika or something like that. If any of you have ever seen him, he's a tabla player, absolutely incredible. And anyway, he's in this poem, so I have to read it. It's called Revision. Sorting through photos, revisiting memories heavy with guilt, I feel a need to clear old papers. Later that night, many journals shredded in the co-op office. Hours of letting go, and I am trembling as my life is cut into strips of paper, into orderly rows, my own words separated from one another. I am at the threshold of a new life in need of revision. Now there is a sensuous bloom on my lips, tinged red, once full of bitterness, but lately they have been sweetened by sacred words. Chants and mantras have made my body a home for metaphors. Circling the page, their call and response rhythm informed by the tabla player, a red-headed boy, so young to be a seeker, and I wonder what took me so long. He is amazing. If you ever get to see him. He's on YouTube. I looked that up today to get his name. Here's another one that I tend to read every time, but it is it's one that I quite like. And everybody laughs when I read the title, so I'll warn you, it's not a happy poem. You can still laugh if you like, but I might need to think about a new title for it. But it's What Do Frida Kahlo and My Mother Have in Common? And it begins with a quote from Frida Kahlo. I hope the exit is joyful, and I hope never to return. I don't know if you just saw that there was some stuff circulating of her clothing and her wooden leg that she has been locked in the bathroom for 15 years after the death of her glasses. And things, yeah, fascinating. Wow. Anyways, there's pictures of the stuff circulating. I want her clothes. Anyway, so where do all the breasts go? Found to be cancerous, excised from women's bodies. For a time they lie on a tin tray, a mound of flesh, a nipple, my mother's skin, pink, laying in a lump in her own blood. Do all the breasts go in one big biohazard bag, piled on top of each other? Frightened. They have never been on their own, call out to their sister, but she cannot hear them over all that weeping. What of legs and arms? Gangrene set in, blackened. Even so, they were missed. Phantom limbs still itch. Hands reach out with nothing left to scratch. The one that remains mourns its companion. It is not supposed to be like this. We were to go together, all of us at once, not one body part at a time. Yet the remaining bits must carry on, wear bras made for 2 breasts, pants for 2 legs, and sweaters for 2 arms. Once a part of us has left, it matters not, for our focus is on the living. There will be no one there to grieve as a man in overalls and gloves incinerates our loved ones. No prayers said, flowers offered, ashes scattered. Does this mean that we have 1 foot in the grave, 1 breast in the grave? For even if no one says it, we all know that if not caught soon enough, a new word will be introduced. I know, it's such a happy poem. I was thinking of my mother, and you know, she's long gone now, and it's amazing how later you think, I wish I would have asked more questions. I wish I would have said this or that, and you think about her experiences. Anyway, thank you. This piece is called Here, Everything is Holy, and it was spurred by a really bad day, running into a lot of people with really heavy energy and feeling just like if I was really weighed down by it all. And my first thought when I got in the door was, I need a smudge. It was really quite the day. So here, everything is holy. Sweet sweet cedar, take these burdens, heavy they weigh. My body weakened by the piercing pricks, breaks in skin not thick, heart full, mind wanting to empty into a river of tears. My own grief, unholy in my eyes, unholy in my eyes. Sweet cedar, take these burdens, heavy they weigh. So much not mine, yet others' weeping has entered my body. A hornet's nest under this awning, making a home, stings swells without provocation. My own anger stifled, unholy in my eyes, unholy in my eyes. Sweet cedar, take these burdens, heavy they weigh. The boughs of my shoulders bend, tremble at your touch. Under the tree I stand, your branches a caress. Here, everything is holy. I wish I knew how to pronounce this word. I've been trying all day. I tried to look it up on the internet. It's the title of a poem, and it's a Cree word that they used for the Métis people. I wonder if you know how to pronounce it. Otipemsia, something like that. They called us that because they said that we were the people who owned ourselves. We owned ourselves. And that's the title of this poem. Bones, the receptacle of all we have seen and done, all that our ancestors have seen and done. Their story, our story, sagas travel the centuries. In Lake of the Woods, you feel home, have no idea why, until years later you read the Assiniboine inhabited that part of the world. Your body knew long before you knew you were a descendant, a Assiniboine, a Stone Sioux, still nomadic you wander. When quiet memories bleed through, with Christ on a hill, you know how he feels, the Bible unrecognizable in his presence. You, a simple Essene woman, sit quietly. There is nothing to say. Moving through time, a table, many men ready to fight, smell of deerskin coats, gunpowder in your nose, their powder flask, bullets quickly filled with sulfur, charcoal, saltpeter. You, a rebel, stand in a river of time, and when the healer asks, what was your lesson in this life? No thought. Your lips form words. I want to own myself. And I had said that like 25 years ago before I heard that that's what they used to say, that we were people that own themselves. So I had a healer ask me, what's your lesson in this life? So just one more, and it's called Manitou Lake. I don't know if any of you have ever had the experience of going to Manitou Lake in Saskatchewan. It's a little bit like the Dead Sea. It's so salty you can't sink, and it's very healing. It's pretty incredible, actually. It doesn't look very nice, though. It's quite run down, the place where the jacuzzis are. They have big, gigantic jacuzzis, and I had really mixed feelings when I went there because it was to be sacred water, and now we're inside this building with this chipped up tiles and this brown water, and it just didn't look good, and we had also been going to all the Head Smashed In, Buffalo Jump, and Manuscoa, and all these places, and I was just feeling this real sadness about all the things that happened in this part of the world. But I was amazed to find out that the water really is still powerful and healing. I actually had a third-degree burn, I had a big scar on my wrist, and it was gone after spending an afternoon there. Manitou Lake. Together we float, praying for another life, another body, one that does not ache. This land reverberates, its skin stretched tightly, drum beats echo. When quiet, you can hear the sounds of the buffalo at a time when the land still spoke. Heavy with salt, a medicine wheel waits on the other side, exile. Written words have no place here, only prayers, raised hands. This land respects no map, it's shifting its own. the water calls, Manitou, Manitou, pulls me closer to some memory of before, of bones of ancestors, and behind my eyes I feel. Knotted hands, old sticks, not stones, burnt sienna skin, its undoing lost in the wind. It sings, hi-ya, hi-ya, hi-ya. There is no sinking here, only copper water, once sacred. Now the sky outside cannot touch our skin. What little I know of home, of water, I am here, but part of me is always there. Bone to bone, my marrow still sings your songs, recalls your name, Manitou, Manitou. We'll stop there. I have no idea what time it is. It's 7. So we have time for questions and answers period if anybody would like to ask a question or comment. I was thinking it was more as a circle.
You have a poem
With that title? Yeah, the first poem in the book has that those words in it. Pages bone, ink is blood. And that's the very first poem.
How did you come up with the title?
Yeah, the title was very interesting, actually. It just came to me seemingly out of nowhere, but that's not always true, right? I've been reading Gregory Schofield's Singing Home the Bones. Yes, that's what it's called, isn't it? Singing Home the Bones. Gregory Schofield is a great Métis writer, and I've been thinking about his work and about the idea of singing home the bones and how we don't care for our bones in the same way as the indigenous people cared for bones. Yes, we have graves and things, but there's just a whole different relationship. We didn't leave where our people were buried. We stayed with them. So I was thinking a lot about that and about the murdered missing women. That's part of the Singing Home the Bones. And about writing my own story and how much I felt I knew, which is part of that one poem, how much I felt I knew even though no one had told me. And then later as I did my ancestry searches, I was finding out that I did know. So my body knew. And it was really remarkable. So to me the page was now the bone, and the ink that I was writing with was the blood that I